everyone, this is the GCSE RE revision video for Unit 2 keywords. So as I said with the Unit 1 keywords video, it's absolutely crucial that we know all of the keywords for Buddhism inside out. It's the basis for us being able to do everything else in the exam. Okay, so the first Unit 2 keyword that we're going to look at is the Bodhi tree. What is the Bodhi tree? It was the tree under which Siddhartha was sitting when he received enlightenment. That is the exact wording that the exam board would like you to remember. Siddhartha was the prince who became the Buddha when he achieved enlightenment, and that is the Bodhi tree in a place called Bodh Gaya in India. It's the most important pilgrimage site for Buddhists all around the world. Okay, Buddha, what does that mean? Well, I've sort of just told you. The definition you need to remember is the enlightened one. It can also be translated as the awakened one, but if we stick to the enlightened one for the exam, and it is one of the three jewels of Buddhism. That's something I've put in brackets there. That's important for Unit 2, that you know that the three jewels start off with the Buddha. So there is a picture of the Buddha being enlightened with his halo behind him, and there are three jewels. So what are the other two of the three jewels? Well, one of them is the Dharma, which you should know from the previous keywords video. It is the teachings of the Buddha, but again in brackets I've put one of the three jewels of Buddhism. So there you have some teachings of the Buddha, and there you have the jewels again. And Sangha, again, you should hopefully be able to remember the definition from the previous videos. But here we go, the Buddhist community. There is an entire video on the subject of the Sangha. If you're not sure about exactly what it means, just watch that video again and again until you are sure. So those are the three jewels of Buddhism. When somebody becomes a Buddhist, they take refuge in these three jewels. What does that mean? That's a very strange thing. It sounds like basically when we are in difficulties in life, we turn to something. It could be parents or carers. It could be something more negative like drugs or alcohol. The idea of taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma and Sangha is that when you're having a hard time, you turn to the wisdom that you will find in those three jewels to help you through difficulties. Arahant, what does that mean? It is an enlightened disciple, which means follower of the Buddha, who is free from desire, so has attained Nibbana. So there's one with his halo behind him again, one of the closest disciples of the Buddha there. Bhikkhu, what is a bhikkhu? A bhikkhu is a Buddhist monk. Here is a picture of a Buddhist monk. What is a bhikkhuni? Well, that's not totally difficult, is it? Because it's obviously a similar word. It's a Buddhist nun, and here are some Buddhist nuns. Vihara, what is a vihara? Very important keyword to remember for the exam. It is a Buddhist monastery or temple, and here is a picture of a Buddhist temple, which is actually in this country. Theravada, what is Theravada? Theravada means literally the way of the elders. It's the type of Buddhism that you find in Southeast Asia, in places like Thailand, in Burma and Sri Lanka. Probably all you need to remember for the exam, though, is this bit, the way of the elders. It's the most conservative version of Buddhism which is alive today. They still get their food in the way that the Buddha did 2,500 years ago, for example, whereas other traditions don't necessarily beg for food in the same way. Mahayana Buddhism, what does that mean? It means the great vehicle. Maha is a Sanskrit word meaning great. Yana means vehicle. So the great vehicle, in brackets there I've got Buddhism characterized by the Bodhisattva vow. Exactly what that means I'll discuss in more detail in a later video, but here you can see we've got images of Buddhas and behind images of Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas are beings who have vowed to become a perfectly enlightened Buddha for the benefit of all beings in the universe, to try and give them compassion and loving kindness. Okay, the Lotus Sutra, what is that? This is the exam board's definition, the most important scripture of Mahayana Buddhism. So if you were asked what is the Lotus Sutra, that is the definition that you would need to be able to remember for to get full marks. And there is a copy of it in English. Zen, what is Zen? Zen is a school of Mahayana Buddhism which was developed in China and Japan. This is a Zen garden. They're quite famous. I'm not going to talk about them in depth now. And then finally we've got Vajrayana Buddhism. What is Vajrayana Buddhism? Well, Vajra can be translated as diamond. It could also be translated as thunderbolt. But Yana again means vehicle, so the diamond vehicle is all you need to remember for the exam. Vajrayana means the diamond vehicle. It's also sometimes referred to as Tantric Buddhism. Here is a ritual implement which is called a Vajra. So, the Western Order Buddhism, finally. What is the Western Order of Buddhism? It is an organisation that is devoted to living according to Buddhist principles in modern Western societies. The group has recently changed its name to Triratna. I've put that in there. The exam board should know about that, but in the materials that we've got, they haven't referred to it. Anyway, if you were asked a question about the Western Order of Buddhism or Triratna Buddhism, it's the same thing. And here we have a picture from the Manchester Buddhist Centre. You can see Westerners in Western clothing. The teacher at the front is not in the lotus posture, he's sitting in a chair. So it's Buddhism which has been kind of westernized, adapted to modern setting. Right, so at this point I'm going to stop talking and I'm just going to play the keywords and you test yourself. Test your own knowledge on what you have learned. Okay, so those are the keywords that you need to know. Replay this video until you know them all inside out. Really, really crucial. Best of luck.